that was brought us up to 2018. But do you remember when we officially made it happen?
Yeah.
Starbucks in Liffey Valley.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And that was the real turning point, because we had spoke for about a few weeks, and you had been working elsewhere, and
It's a good few months actually.
it was a few months. Yeah.
The big thing for me at that time was the risk. I wasn't a massive risk taker, and I had so many commitments. I was working with so many different teams and doing one-to-one and group training and all that. But I had so much going on that was like, to let all that go, to take the jump and take the leap.
I remember that was amazing, because I remember Owen and me were wondering, will he do it? Will he take the leap of faith? Because we had tried to sell it as much as we could, but you had commitments, we had commitments, but we wanted to leave where we were, and we knew that you wanted to leave where you were.
Yeah.
And the idea was, like, together we could be great, you know.
Yeah.
And that was in August. It was in the start of August when we had the conversation, but in Starbucks in Liffey Valley, it was €27.
Yeah, you stung it to me. You were like, right, man, you gotta do it now. Shit, I get off the pot. Yeah, exactly. 20 quid in.
€27.
Yeah, 27 quid.
And you took the €2 out of your coin purse and you put it on the 25 and you slid it across.
Yeah.
That was the start of it.
Yeah, and we put a choose to CRO, wasn't it?
CRO, yeah. 15th of August, yeah.
15th of August. Nice,
Today's the 15th.
Yeah, class.
So it was, 8 years? 7 years.
Yeah.
No, 7. I can't remember.
7 years.
7 years today.
Yeah. That was 2018.
2018,
sorry,
so 7 years
ago,
yeah.
Yeah, it took a good while to get to there though, because we had talked at Christmas, and then we met up in January, and it was nearly a 6-month process.
Yeah.
For formulating your plan, what I thought, how I could impact it, how I could come in, and then getting everything else kind of sorted in the meantime. It didn't just happen overnight. It was a good few.
No.
But it's funny to look back all the little kind of points along the way, all those little interconnections that we had. It's funny how life happens, really, isn't it?
But I remember Owen and me were chatting, and we so our personality types, and I remember working through the GPA, we kind of got to figure out how we operated intrapersonally. And as I explained, I'm a tactile learner, very energetic, enthusiastic. I'm a risk taker. Like, I love taking action and taking risks. But I knew, and me and Owen had the conversation, that we needed someone who was diligent, hardworking, detailed, the opposite to our personalities. And we were hoping and praying that you'd take the risk, like. And thankfully you did. It eventually did, but it was just one of those things it took me a long time to figure it out, but I was like, right, I'll go. I jumped, but I don't think I would have done it if you hadn't have put it to me, you know what I mean? So I was like, I like this man's, even though I knew already, I was like, I like this man's directness. You've always had that direct approach, which is powerful. Yeah, it's amazing when you look back in 2018 to now, 7 years later, here we are. Yeah. Our first ever gym.
Yeah, looks a lot different. It's funny how it came about.
Yeah, because I remember initially in the August, we had to transition from what we were doing.
Yeah.
But in the background, Joanne Keenan was a huge part in our journey, because years ago in 2018, we had to figure out how we were going to get our own space and learn about, our own usage of our own facility. And Joanne was crucial to us starting in Comfy, and she played a big role. And once we had an agreement with the club, we transitioned from where we were here. But not without the help of our dads. Do you remember
Yeah, big time at that start. But I always remember that this room initially was broken. And there was the old gym that was a bit down in the dumps from just had equipment thrown in it, and then Dottie had his keg room in here.
Yeah, the club had the keg room, the storage room for the pint glasses. Yeah. And we had made the argument, would the club benefit more from a storage room for glasses and kegs, or if we double the size of this gym space? And again, Joanne and the committee thankfully agreed, gave us the permission. We knocked the wall. Probably see from a few of the photos, knocked the wall.
Your dad was involved in that. I think he knocked the whole thing down. Himself.
Yeah, and I remember Owen's dad, Mossy, gave us $2,000 for our first equipment. bit of cash to try and get us off the ground. And he had the forklift. Do you remember he was driving the desk?
Yeah, he put that little unit in there. And the skirting boards and all that cracky.
Yeah, and Phil, like all the help Phil gave us over the years, and still training.
He was the painter.
Decorator,
yeah. Came in painting.
Still training away, deadlifting. But I mean, when you look back at everything, the whole journey to get to this point, it's like we couldn't have done it without the community of our relationships, our network, people who believed in us.
We were very fortunate. It was
so lucky.
Kind of beg, borrow and steal what you could, like, and ask for help in every different avenue. And the three dads played a big part to that, like, just to give us a bit of a belief first, and then just help. You know the way, what can they do? So they all came in and chipped in, and friends and family as well. It was a big slog to get it up and running, but it's always funny to look back at that first room, and there was absolutely nothing in it.
Oh, unbelievable.
We just cleared it out and we had 4 white walls, but we had a room. That was the main thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, we couldn't get any money, so we had to again learn the hard way. Money was once, as always, the elephant in the room. But do you remember the time we had 100 quid in the bank, and we bought a fridge. Bought a fridge for in the office for our porridge.
In the mornings.
In the mornings, I think it was 80 quid.
Gas.
Because the Bank of Ireland wouldn't give us any more money. We had bought an in-body, and we had bought a couple of kettlebells at the very beginning of the whole journey to try and sophisticate the operation, but we had no cash.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big believer, and I know you are too, is that, like, if we had got 50 grand off someone to get up and running, I don't think we would have got all them learnings.
No, we wouldn't have.
The bank wouldn't give us any money. It was like our families weren't in a position to give us money. The only thing we were very fortunate was we didn't really have any dependents. We weren't, paying crazy rent anywhere. We were all, had to support the family to live at home, because we definitely needed that, because those first few months wasn't much money coming in. There was a lot of money going out. A lot of dark days in that first few months that really questioned what we were doing.
Well, I suppose it's 2025 now, so our apprenticeship is still ongoing. We are it's 10 years since we started our own businesses, but it only really accelerated in terms of our learnings when money was brought to the table of what we needed to feed us. And with 3 founders at the time, Owen has now left the business, and sadly Mossy, his dad, isn't with us anymore, and that was a huge turning point in the direction of Owen leaving Escape. And he's doing well, and we can look back and we can look back and thank him for everything that he's done for this company and for the people in it, and what Mossy did. But we had no money at the time. We had no cash. We didn't know what to do, only work and figure things out. And fitness industry revenue was one thing, and making a career out of the industry was one thing, but with 3 founders and like a personal team to look after, and outgoings with no money, it was a dark 7 or 8 months. I think we didn't take wages for about 6 months. The first 6 months we didn't take any wages.
And we'd injected a good bit of money ourselves into the business to try and, like, back then, if you wanted anything, if we wanted an extra few dumbbells, it was like, right lads, we have to chip in a few quid, and it was coming personally. Like, there was a lot of personal investment into that, the basics.
But don't forget as well, 2018, like, I was 29 turning 30. So for my 30th year, I had no money. And I know there's a lot of social norms about age, as in age, you have to be at a certain place at a certain age. Well, you don't. And like, I was turning 30, no cash, but a purpose, a mission to try and figure things out, take risks, take action. And at that time, even though it was a real struggle, like you said, if we had had money, we would have made a lot more mistakes. We wouldn't have learned anything. And it's, what, 7 years in the difference now.
Yeah, big time, big apprenticeship.
But interestingly, like, if we look back at the whole journey, and I know you'd mentioned how hard it was. It was hard. It was like, it was really tough when you don't have any money in your bank. Like, you might owe a few bob to your parents. And I suppose that we were lucky that our support circle was our parents to lean on. They mightn't have had much money to fund for the company because it was our mission and our purpose. But borrowing 50 quid off them when we needed to, well, for me anyway, I was hounding them for a few quid to try and, you know, if I wanted to go out or have some food or live like a normal person, I would have had to dig in and budget like accordingly at 30. And living at home as well, it wasn't ideal. But like now it's said that every successful business, it comes down to the co-founders of the company. When you remove all the noise and you look at the success of any business, it comes down to the relationship between the two co-founders or the three co-founders.
Yeah.
And we were lucky enough to believe in each other. I knew that you wouldn't give up and you wouldn't not work. You'd dig in every single day. And I think I'd like to hope you believe that in me as well, you know.
I think we had that graft from the few years. Again, we had served another apprenticeship a few years beforehand with the graft of running our own business. But I do think the key thing is when we did set up Escape is if that was me on my own, 6 months in I probably would have pulled the plug and bailed. But I knew between yourself and Owen, again, the three of us there at that time, with just the energy. I don't think we ever looked at each other and doubted whether we could make it successful or not. But there was a lot of tough conversations, and the 6 months, the initial 6 months, we were full of beans and full of energy. And I always remember that kind of February, we had an abysmal month. Like we made, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 euro in a month.
Yeah, anyway, the whole business did.
There was three founders. We had 2 or 3 part-time coaches working with us at the time. We were paying rent to Confi, electricity bills, like we were playing CRM systems, all that stuff. And
that was a dark time.
That was a dark time. I think we call
that the black hole.
Yeah,
don't
we had a walk down the canal that day where we were like, are we going? Are we continuing here? Are we not? I think that was the turning point though, that where we took it from a 5 out of 10 up to a 10 out of 10. We went full steam ahead, and it was do or die really. That was
sink or swim,
grow or die or whatever that term. And we went for it then, and then we made a couple of key changes, and we pushed hard, and we got punched through that ceiling.
And I think that was the turning point. I think you're right, because in fairness, I remember, I don't know if you remember this, when Owen turned around and said, lads, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he thinks if we continue this revenue streak, we'll be out of business in a month. So he said, shit, right, it's time to really pull up our socks and dig in and try and figure out how to get out into the community, network, market, sell. If there was a gun to our heads, what would we do? How would we promote Escape? And 2 feet from goal, it was the straw could break the camel's back at the time, and we dug in. And I think back to the co-founders, because there was 3 of us, it wasn't a single decision that we had to make. There was 3 decisions to make, and the strength of Escape is down to the 3 co-founders that had different opinions at crucial times of the company. And there's a lot of business owners out there that are on their own, and part of the downfall is they don't have a person to bounce off. And we were lucky enough to be friends at the time and bounce off each other. But thankfully things improved from the black hole, which was February 2019.
We got ourselves out of it. No 3 better buckles, in fairness.
Yeah. And I suppose, do you remember the time we set up the gym and there was no equipment? And I wasn't probably 9 or 12 months later where our dream was to have cardio equipment.
Yeah, we didn't have any.
We didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Like, we'd no assault bikes for us were luxurious. Yeah. The idea of having an assault bike in our gym was like, wow. And we operated with dowels and kettlebells and bands for about 6 to 9 months, wasn't it?
And a whole lot of creativity.
Yeah.
I think you were the maestro on that one, but
Snatch the Cone was played every day, I think.
We bounced each other off. That was the key, where you were coaching, I'd be like, I robbed a bit of that off you, and then you'd rob something off me, and it was funny how it worked. But we had some crack back then as well. It wasn't all doom and gloom. There was a bit of fun.
That was good times,
Yeah, so we're back here 7 years later, and it looks a hell of a lot different than it did when we first created this day, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
Hard to believe, yeah. The evolution of the brand and everything that's happened in this initial studio. This is our first baby that we set up, and we spent a whole lot of time in here, and we have a lot of good deep-rooted memories, and a lot of time that formed the future of Escape. But the evolution of the brand it's come a long way, and there's still a couple of clients who would have been with us back then who still train with us.
Yeah, I remember, like, and we spoke about having an assault bike or cardio equipment, like, members that are joining Escape now, they see Escape for what it is, but we know Escape is down to the people on the team.
Yeah.
It's not down to us, it's down to every single person who has been part of Escape. You know, we haven't lost a team member in 4.5 years apart from Owen, who stepped away from the business, but every single person on this team has played a huge part in getting the brand to where it is. And I think ultimately we know that this room is a representation of the progress from the compounding effect of like-minded people working together, being in an environment that pushes you on, makes you bigger, better, makes you stronger, bigger, I wish. Yeah. Makes you stronger and just makes you like really reach for your full potential, which is the environment we want to create in Escape.
I think we learned that lesson because we didn't have anything at the first 9 months, and we learned that actually you can create a whole lot of magic with very little. And we knew that the people factor when it comes to personal and community-driven group training, within that first 9 months, we were like, although we love the ski ergs and the bike ergs, they're brilliant now, but back then when we didn't have them, we were forced to create that energy through people, and we figured out that ultimately for Escape to be successful in the future, the most important aspect or asset you can have in your business is the people. Yeah. Because if the coach turns up and they're not happy and they're not getting paid well and they don't really like us, then it doesn't really matter what equipment you have in the gym, because they are the most important person in this room. So and that stands true for the whole team, and we reiterate that when they come in, they are at the start of the show. And it's very much that group training. You do need to step into like a performance piece, you know, and that's why it is such a demanding. And from the outside, people probably don't get that perception as coaching is quite demanding, emotionally and physically. When you come in, you got to rock it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like we speak about this all the time. Like, why are software engineers making 80, 100 grand a year at 22 years of age, and therapists and, you know, personal trainers, coaches who are on the front lines helping people, solving, you know, curing people from depression, anxiety, loneliness, social anxiety, disconnection. Why are these people getting paid the least? What is it about kind people that makes them finish at the bottom? It's ridiculous, and we need to, and we know we're on a mission to be the highest paid coaching brand in Ireland. And at the core of our company, if you work for Escape, you'll be looked after financially, you'll be paid on time, you'll have benefits like everybody else, and the infrastructure of the business will look after the people in it, because we can't get anywhere without our team.
Yeah.
We're useless without them, and every single person on the team isn't replaceable, because if they were like they are in a corporate world, it's number in, number out. But with us, it's about relationships, like you said. Like, you know, 60 clients on a morning when it comes to coaching. You're coaching 60 adults who have lives, who have kids, who have troubles, who have problems. You're listening to everything, what they're doing, what they're eating, how they're sleeping. So within 6 hours, as soon as the last client walks out the door, the energy goes with them. Yeah. And then they have to train themselves or have their own life. It's emotional, and it's quite taxing. So why aren't coaches in Ireland being paid really well for that role? And why is it that the roles aren't appreciated and respected like they should? And as we know, we're standing in this room 7 years later. It is emotional when you look around at the equipment and you look around at the progress we've made, but where's Ireland going to be in 5 years, 10 years when it comes to statistics? And what can gym owners do in particular to lead the industry better? Because we spoke about this a few times. Like if you're on LinkedIn and we put a comment below the salaries you pay your staff, there probably won't be any comments on it, because a lot of people will be subconsciously knowing that the salary should be better.
Yeah, so there's an industry that chews people up and spits them out. You know, that's the journey we've been on. Has taught us that how volatile the fitness industry and the sports industry is. Very hard to get a consistent contracted paid salaried job where you get actual benefits, as you said, salaries. We went through all them frustrations, and that was one of the main reasons why Escape was set up. And the heart of Escape is born out of complete frustration with the lack of standards in the fitness industry. And you know, we've made a good dent of it in the last 7 years. You know, but we're definitely not done, and that's what drives us to drive this company beyond what we even imagined it could be at the start. Is the people within it and the standards that are in the fitness industry, and just change the face of the fitness industry so people can actually have a career in the fitness industry, and they can live and they can buy a house and they can get a mortgage and they can have kids. Because back when I started, definitely couldn't see a vision of that.
Yeah, you're giving me goosebumps here now. Yeah, that's amazing. Come a long way.